Welcome back to Tech Tutorials for Teachers. Today's video is over Nearpod. This is a great presentation tool for the classroom as it has a lot of features for you to add to your PowerPoint presentations. If that sounds interesting, let's go ahead and hop in. The first thing you need to do is go to nearpod.com and it'll bring you to this page. And then as a teacher, you're just going to want to either sign up if you don't have an account, or you can click login. And these buttons are up here on the right as well. If you're administrator, then you can choose some other options here, and then your students can go to nearpod.com and type in the code for a specific lesson. But I'm going to show you how you can do things as a teacher. So I'm going to go ahead and log on. If you sign up, you're just going to sign up with an email. I think you can also sign up with Facebook if you'd like to do that. But once you log in or sign up, this is the page it'll bring you to. This is basically just your home page, your library. So this is what you're going to have here. I'm just going to go over some of the functions over here on the left and then as well up at the top. So let's go ahead and start on the left. This is where you can join a lesson. If there is a presentation that your administrator makes and wants you to watch for some professional development, or let's just say that you want to join some lesson, then that's how you can do that as a teacher. Just type in the code for that lesson. Next is your library. That's where we're at now, and I'll get into some of the functions after I go through these over here. These are reports. I don't have any just because there's no data to report. But these are some post-session reports after someone goes through a lesson. They can report some data and get some student engagement from the lesson. Next is the Nearpod Library. So this is where you can search for other Nearpods that are already made. You can find videos and lessons by Nearpod or by other people. They'll be here, and you can search with these tabs over here, search by subject, by grade, and by resource type. Then you can also search for some state standards. So you can search for Indiana state standards, and then you can also filter between lessons and videos, as well as search. If we go back to this page, finally you have some teacher resources. So these are the teacher resources. You can search for some things, and then you also have some live webinars, getting started videos. So this is just some resources for you as a teacher to scroll through and help you with Nearpod. If we come back to this home page and go to my library, I'll go ahead and get into some of the functions just sitting in here. So these are your lessons that you create. If you save any that you find in the Nearpod library, they'll show up down here in their own separate area. And then if you want to organize them, let's say you have multiple classes and you want one for algebra and one for geometry, you can create folders by going up here and creating a folder. Just click on that, name it, and then create it, and you can put your lessons inside a folder. So that kind of helps you organize some things with some folders. Next, you have a quick launch. So this is just if you want to do one of these quick activities with a student. You don't want to create a whole lesson, but you want to just do something quick with activities. You can hit quick launch. This is a new function, so it's still in a little bit of testing, but it should work perfectly fine for you if you'd like to just do one of these quick activities. And then if you click on your profile picture, then you can go through some settings. You can upgrade your account. So there's some things that you can do if you pay for an account and upgrade it. But there's so many things you can do while it's free. So don't think you need to pay for it in order to use Nearpod. You can do so much on the free version. So you got some settings here that you can mess around with, but just some typical settings. So let's move into making a Nearpod lesson. If you go over here, you can select one of these three. Lesson in Nearpod is simply creating a lesson completely in Nearpod that includes your slides, your activities. You You can do that completely in Nearpod. Lesson in Google Slides gives you the ability to create your slides in Google Slides and then add some Nearpod activities to those slides. You can also start a lesson in Nearpod and then upload slides from a PowerPoint if you'd like to do that, and I can show you once we get into that. This final option for you is video. So basically what this is going to be is you can record. Let's say you want to record a lesson you physically teaching in front of a class or something of that sort. You can do a video and then pause the video. It'll automatically pause a video with an activity. So that's that function. I'm not going to get into that in this tutorial simply because there is another resource and tool called Edpuzzle that does this same thing that I'm going to make a tutorial for instead of this. But if you'd like me to do a tutorial on the Nearpod video option, I can do that as well. Just please let me know in the comments below. But I'm not going to show that today just because there's another resource that does a similar thing. But you can always click on this and search it for yourself or ask me to do a tutorial in the comments. Okay, let's go ahead and get into creating a lesson. So as you can see here, this is when you create a lesson, this is what it'll be. You can name it this way. Simply click on those titles, name it. I'm going to name it tutorial. So then you can add slides, and this is how you can add specific content, or you could always add PowerPoints here by simply clicking upload files, and you can upload an entire presentation from PowerPoint and then insert activities when you want to. So let's add a slide and I can show you some of the content that you can add. These are all the content types that you can add while you're making your actual content slides, like the stuff that you're teaching the students. You can add just a normal slide. So this is just going to be like a PowerPoint or something. You can add videos, you can add images, text. That's how you're going to do that here. You can add physical slides. What I would recommend is going in Google Slides or PowerPoint, creating your entire presentation, and then going and putting it into Nearpod and adding activities that way, simply because it's going to be easier and quicker for you. Going in and adding slide by slide in Nearpod, there's just a few other things that you have to do, and it's a little slower. But if you make your slides in Google Slides or PowerPoint and then upload it, that'll be the easiest way to create a lesson in Nearpod, in my opinion. So if we add a slide, you have all of these options. You can add some web content. So that'll be a web page that you want the students to go to. You can put that inside the Nearpod lesson, and then they can click on that slide and it'll take them to the web page you want them to go into. There's some Nearpod 3D. So this is some AR, some 3D objects that you can mess around with. There's Field Trip, which is basically a VR option for field trips so that they can take a tour of a museum or something on a device. So you can do that here. And then you have some other options that you can see through here, and you can play with those and figure out what you want to do. This is the video that I was talking about. You can add a video and then add activities to that video. Then if you click activities, this is what I would do if I were making a lesson in Nearpod. I would upload my PowerPoint or Google Slides into Nearpod and then just go in and add some of these activities between where I want them. So you have time to climb. Let's click on that and see what it is. So you can have a question and then answer options. And basically they just keep answering questions until they get to the top of the mountain. It's a good way to quiz them and see if they're following along. You can do that at the end or in the middle of your presentation. The next one is an open-ended question. So essentially you're going to post a question for them, and then they can type out responses and post them like you would on a discussion board, but it'll post everyone's answers up onto the screen. And so then you can go through those and see the responses for the open-ended question. This one is simply a matching game um, with pictures or text. This would be good for English or anything with like physical facts. So you have a question with an actual fact that goes with it, but it's just matching. So you can do that. You can have a quiz. I'll show you what it looks like. It's the same thing as the climb the mountain, but it won't be the climbing the mountain thing. It'll just be a simple quiz, and you can add questions by clicking those here. Add another option for answers, so it'll be multiple choice, and then you type your question in here. You can also add media, video, or audio instructions for your quiz, and you can add a timer. If you'd like to give them 5 minutes to complete the quiz, you can do that by clicking a timer. So doing that, hitting add. I'm going to cancel because I don't want to create a quiz. Go back to activities. Next is Flipgrid. Again, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a little bit of this, but the students respond in a video. So you post a question, give them an assignment, and they will record themselves or record a video to answer that question. It's a really great tool. This is another one that I can do a tutorial on. If you'd like me to do that, please mention that in the comments below so I know that more people want to see what Flipgrid does. Then you basically you have all of these activities that you can do. I won't go through each one. You can mess with it, see what they do. This is simply drawing pictures, collaborating with other people, a poll. You can ask a simple question for them to vote in on class, fill in the blanks, and memory tests. So those are all the activities that you can add into your slides. Again, the best and easiest way to make a Nearpod lesson is to upload a PowerPoint or Google Slides presentation and then add in your activities when you want. And then you can also add, so if you put in a Google Slide presentation about the order of operations, you can always go back and add a slide with a web content, with a web page, with a Nearpod 3D. You can always add these slides in there. But as far as actual content and things you want the students to learn, I would put those in on a Google Slide or a PowerPoint and then upload it. That's the easiest way, in my opinion, to make a lesson in Nearpod. I'm going to show you a few more of the functions. Create a slide. I'm going to create a few slides just to show you how you can edit this when you have a couple slides. So save the slide. Let's add another one. Okay. Save and exit. Okay. So then when you have a slide, you can click in between the two slides to add it in a specific area. So this is how you'll add activities or web pages or 3D objects when you upload a PowerPoint. So when you upload it, you'll have all of your slides in the order that you want them. And then you can click in between the two slides to add an activity. And then you can hit add slide and it'll add a slide between that when you hit add content, or you can also add activity. So that's how you'll add them between the slides when you upload it from there. And then you can also drag them and change the order. So if you accidentally put an activity on this side of the slide, but you actually want it over here, you just slide the activity over and put it where you want it. Fairly simple. Whenever you're done creating your entire presentation, you have all the activities you want, you can hit save and exit, and that'll take you back to your home page. And as you can see, it's here. So after you've created your lesson, for example, I have this one, you can always go back and edit it. You can preview, you can drag it. I think this is how you're going to drag it into like a folder. If you create a folder over here, you can drag it into the folder. And then you can also duplicate, you can also add the folder there, see the reports for this specific lesson, share with other people, and then this is how you delete it. I don't want to delete that one. as you can see, this part is different than this. So there are some changes I made into this lesson that I haven't saved. So in order to present your lesson, you'll need to save those changes. And then once it's saved, then you'll come to this and you can have the presentation, and this is how you'll present them. This is a new function in Nearpod where you can add zoom to it. So you can have a Nearpod while you're doing a Zoom, and it'll basically just share your screen, but the students will also be able to participate with it. This is a live participation. However, with this one, as you click through the lesson, it'll click through on the student's screen when they're logged in. This one is student paced. So when you click on the presentation, it won't change it automatically for them on their device. So they'll click along with it. So it just depends on which one you want. But those are the two options as far as presenting your lesson. And then you can also have the option of adding Zoom to it, where you can do a Nearpod in your Zoom. And that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions, just leave those in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.